Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be looking at the brand new Charizard VSTAR that was revealed. It was revealed in the Champions League tournament that happened in Japan yesterday. Technically today, if we're talking like going real deep into like dates and stuff. But yeah, and then it was revealed in English when our Brilliant Stars set was officially revealed. I'm really excited for VSTAR. We got some new tools for Arceus VSTAR as well, so that is probably finally its own deck now. It really just kind of just like a support, but now it has some really good tools it can use. So today we're looking at Charizard VSTAR, which was revealed, and Charizard does confirm that VSTAR powers can also be attacks. We do see that its VSTAR power here is an attack and not an ability, so let's just go ahead, get right into Charizard VSTAR. First of all, it is 280 HP, which is exactly the same as Arceus VSTAR, I believe. And it has two attacks. One of them is obviously going to be its VSTAR's attack, but its first attack for 2 fire and a colorless energy. It does 130 damage, but if it already has any damage counters on it, it does 100 more damage. So you do 230 damage for 3 energy if it has damage counters on them. Obviously, it can be kind of difficult to get damage counters on you, but we do have a card that can easily put damage counters on this guy and accelerate energy at the exact same time. And VSTAR Power, confirming that VSTAR Power can be attacks, we have Star Blaze for 3 fire and a colorless energy. It does 320, one-shotting most VMAX except for like Snorlax, Eternatus, and a couple other stuff. And you have to discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. So, or not 2, not 3 energy, 2 energy. You have to discard 2 energy. So, yeah, Charizard VSTAR definitely really strong. We're going to be playing it with Cinccino because Cinccino can discard cards, which is very important for our strategy. So, of course, starting off, we have Charizard VSTAR. Now, we are only running 3, and we are running no Charizard VMAX. We are only running 3 copies of Charizard VSTAR because we do have another attacker in the deck, and you can also technically attack with the regular Charizard V as well. And we are actually playing the new one that was revealed alongside Charizard VSTAR, but I think 3 count is going to be fine. You know, sometimes you will prize it, and that will suck. But I think you will most of the time be able to get by with, if you don't, with like 2 Charizards and some other stuff, or maybe just 2 Charizards will do the game. We are running no really outs to like Suicune decks or Ice Rider stuff, so those matchups are going to be pretty hard, if not just totally unwinnable. I mean, you can one-shot Ice Rider, but they one-shot you back, and you are one-shotting Suicune, so you can one-shot other Pokemon, but they are just going to be one-shotting you back. So it might just come down to if they can trade better with you or something like that. So those matchups are pretty difficult. But other than that, this Charizard VSTAR deck should have a pretty fine time against everything else. Looking at the new Charizard V that was revealed, we are running this one instead of the old one, Darkness Ablaze. And I think this one is better just because it has Chikasa 2, which is huge for Air Balloon, which is, once again, we need to be on the bench for our strategy to work. So just having Air Balloon Retreat on our Charizard V is really good. And this one had 3 energy, 2 fire, and a colorless. Does 90 damage, and you discard all Pokemon tools before doing damage. So, what would this go through? I don't know. I mean, it can get rid of an Air Balloon, which can be kind of nice sometimes. But then we also have 3 fire and a colorless 180. Not terribly great, but I think giving up some okay attacks that we will use sometimes is definitely worth it for just having our Chikasa 2 instead of 3. We are running, of course, Cinccino's. We are running a 3-3 line of Cinccino. Pretty standard for pretty much any deck running Cinccino is going to be a 3-3 line. Some decks will run 4-4. Some control decks will run 2-2 as well. So, yeah, we have the 3-3 line of Cinccino as well. Discard card from hand, draw 2. Really great ability for trying through your deck. Then we have 2 copies of Pumpkaboo. You might be asking, why are we running 2 copies? And one of the main cards that accelerates energies in our deck, or actually the only card that accelerates energies in our deck, is a Stadium card. And with Pumpkaboo, we can put that Stadium card in play, accelerate energies, and then place Pumpkaboo down, get rid of that Stadium, and then place in another one and accelerate just 2 energies with one. Because we don't really have any other way to accelerate energy in our deck, Pumpkaboo will help us get 2 uses out of Stadium card in a single turn. So that's going to be really great. And then we have 3 other cards. We have 1 copy of a new Moltres, which for 1 fire energy, detonating wings. It does, is it 30? No, it does 20 damage. And if it already has damage counters on it, it does 70. Now you're thinking, why is this guy in here? This guy is really bad. Well, the Stadium, that I've been talking about this entire video, puts damage counters when it accelerates energies, which means Moltres is going to be 1 energy 90 most of the time. And in combination with our Charizard VSTAR's attack, that just does 3 for 230. 90 plus 230 is 320. That's two-shotting most of the relevant VMAXs. Of course, I'm pretty sure almost all the evolutions have 310 HP or under. I think maybe Vaporeon has 320. Yeah, so Vaporeon is not going to be a really good matchup anyway, but Moltres plus Charizard, it could be some really decent math. So we're just running 1 copy of Moltres. You're running 1 copy of Chatot, kind of going all into this non-Roblox engine. We are running just 1 copy of Crobat, but this Chatot, when we bench it, it's basically just elegant on a coin flip. When we bench it, we flip a coin and feds, put a support card from our discard pile right back into our hand. Pretty nice. And we are running Scoop Up Nets as well, so we can use that multiple times. Going into supporters, we're just running 4 copies of Marnie, which is, of course, just a really good card. Shuffling both players' hands, putting them on the bottom, and then your opponent gets 4 and you get 5. We are running 2 copies of a new supporter, and this is going to be Kindler, which forces you to discard a fire energy card from your hand, which is good for our strategy. Once again, with that stadium that I've been talking about pretty much the entire video, we're forced to discard a fire energy card from your hand when we play it. But it does allow us to look at the top 7 cards of our deck and choose any 2 cards there, put them in our hand, and we shuffle the elements back in our deck. Now, this is a super strong effect. Not to mention that we also get to get fire energies in our discard pile, which can, once again, be used for our stadium card. So, Kindler is super strong, and kind of just replacing research a little bit in the deck. And then finally, we're playing 2 boss. Now, that's only A supporters, but keep in mind, these ones we are only running 2 of, we can get them back with a Chatot. We do have multiple uses of the Chatot as well, multiple chances to flip the heads with Scoop Up. In terms of the stadium cards, might as well just show you guys this new stadium card that is pretty much makes this entire deck tick. It is going to be the Magma Basin, that once during each player's turn, that player can attach a fire energy card from the discard pile to one of their bench fire Pokemon in play, and then put 2 damage counters on the Pokemon. So this is what's going to be charging up your Charizard, getting damage counters on it for the explosive fire attack, and it's what's going to be getting damage counters on your Moltres for its detonating wings attack. And it's also just what's going to be powering up your Pokemon in general. This is the main energy acceleration in the deck. Now we see why Cinccino is important and why Kindler is important, because all these cards get energy cards in the discard pile for us, so that we can use this powerful stadium. Not to mention Kindler and Cinccino, but we are also getting a reprint of Ultra Ball in the set. So we are playing 4 copies of Ultra Ball, which can also get energy cards in the discard pile. Not only does it get energy cards in the discard pile by discarding some cards from your hand, but it can not only find our Cinccinos and our Charizard Vs for the early turn, but also our Cinccinos, Charizard VSTARs for the later turns as well. We are still running Quick Balls. We're still running 3 copies of it just because it's not nearly as expensive. Multiple Ultra Ball in your hand usually won't be that great. You can only ever really be able to play 1 because your draw engine also requires you to discard cards. Ultra Ball is just really strong in the other turns. We're playing 4 of them, but also Quick Ball is still a really good card in the later turns because it's not as expensive to play as Ultra Ball. We are running 2 copies of Level Ball because this can get out a lot of Pokemon in your deck. It can get out all our 1-price Pokemon, our Chatot. Actually, no, it cannot get out Moltres. Moltres has 120 HP. But Level Ball can get out our entire Cinccino line and our Pokeball and our Chatot. So some really decent options to get out of the deck with Level Ball. We're running 2 copies of Scoop Up Nets because we can scoop up the Cinccino, evolve a second Cinccino. Basically, 1 Cinccino is 2 Cinccino now. But also, it's a pretty good switching effect. You can reuse Chatot with it. You can reuse Pumpkin. It's just a really decent card in the deck. So we're definitely going to be running 2 copies of that. We are running 2 copies of Switch because our Charizard VSTAR has to be on the bench in order for Magma Basin to accelerate to it. Which, once again, that's also why it's really important that our Charizard V has a tree cost of 2. So we can use Air Balloon with it, which we do also have 2 copies of. Being able to use Air Balloon with our Charizard is going to be super duper helpful. Also, just being able to switch or split at something, so you can just accelerate with that Magma Basin is really great as well. We are running a couple other tools as well. We are running 1 copy of Big Charm, and because Magma Basin does put damage counters on us, we are going to want to have a little bit extra HP. So Big Charm will just push us right over the edge. And that bringing us all the way up to 310 HP, and it's probably going to get reduced a couple times with the Magma Basin, but that's why we play the Big Charm, so we can afford to get our HP reduced in matchups that it is good against. And then one final tool, we're running one Burning Scarf, which has seen next to no play ever since it came out in RoboClaps, the second ever Sword and Shield set it came out in, and this did nothing at all. I guess it was played with Charizard VMAX. People tried it out with Charizard VMAX. But here we're playing it with Charizard VSTAR, because now if something hits our Charizard VSTAR, not only could it damage ourselves for the explosive fire if we just don't manage to get off that Magma Basin, but it can also push our VSTAR Power, our big, it's Star Blaze, up to 340, which is one-shotting those other Pokemon like those bigger Pokemon like Eternatus and Sonic VMAX, which actually could be a pretty decent deck coming into when Brilliant Star drops. I think it's what's called Brilliant Stars or something like that, something along those lines. So yeah, Burning Scarf can just push us over the edge there. In terms of our energies, we're running 3 copies of Heat Fire Energy, once again to compensate for that Magma Basin. So Big Charm and Heat Fire Energy should be enough, I think, to kind of get your HP high enough so that Magma Basin doesn't affect you as much as it would. So yeah, 3 copies of Fire Energy. But the only reason we aren't running 4 is because we cannot accelerate it with Magma Basin, and we cannot discard it with Kindler either. Which is going to be really, really annoying for us. So just running 3 copies. And then basic energies, we are going to running a good old 10 copies of basic fire to run up the list. Charizard VSTAR definitely going to be really, really good. Only thing I can really think of that's going to be bad about Charizard VSTAR is that it is Charizard. And Charizard cards tend to be extremely expensive. And I believe Starbirth does come out just in time for the first regional, which is going to be Salt Lake City. I think, which means if you're going to want to play Charizard VSTAR for Salt Lake City, you're going to be shelling out a shit amount of money just to get your 4-3 or 4-4, depending Charizard line. You could go a little bit cheaper if you really want to sacrifice buying an entirely new set of Charizard V. You could buy the old one. I have it right over here. We have the old Charizard. We have the regular art Charizard V, which I think is going to be slightly more expensive than, believe it or not, the full art one that came in the Champions Pathway Trainer box. So both of those are options if you really wanted to switch up your list a little bit, so that you can run the other ones instead of these. Then that is probably going to be definitely a decent sacrifice. If you want to run just a couple more Switch, just so you can pay, however much, maybe up to $50 less, just for some Charizard Vs, then that is definitely going to be something people might do. But that's the only really bad thing I see about Charizard. Super competitive card, but also super popular Pokemon, and those things don't really mix well when you're trying to be cheap building a deck. But other than that, Charizard VSTAR looks like a super promising card. Really is just raw power VSTAR rather than that kind of, what's the right word, like flexibility that Arceus VSTAR has. It's just definitely more raw power. I'm going to hit you for as much damage as I can. We'll take some OHKOs and stuff like that. So, yeah, Charizard VSTAR Cinccino seems like a really, really powerful deck. And yeah, if you guys like it, don't forget to leave a like. If you guys want to see more content like this, I will definitely be covering probably a deck for all the VSTARs because they're just super, super duper cool. Shaman VSTAR is something I'm super excited for. That card is competitively viable in terms of attacking. I probably will play that deck because Shaman is just a really cute Pokemon. I just would love to try and play Shaman if it is going to be a Kodos Pokemon with the new Double Turbo Energy, which is another card that could be its own video with numerous different decks. But other than that, hope you guys liked it. And if you guys want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.